Hello viewer, welcome to the director's commentary for Delinquent Pair episode 2. Woo! Just me for this commentary once again, and first before we start, or I start, I'd like to say thank you to Radical Industries and Alex over at Random Tree Productions for making Delinquent Pair happen, as they did export it and get it onto the YouTube. This was a lot of fun doing, because originally I thought I was going to go one way with Delinquent Pair episode 1, but I ended up going a completely different way with this episode 2, and there was a lot of stuff that I wanted to do with some things I did with episode 1, such as David, the kind of character that he was, trying to humanize him a bit and kind of explore his feelings and ideals and kind of make him more human. And kind of explore Leonard a little bit and see why he's kind of so humbled. And not much of Leonard in this episode. It's pretty much David and introducing the other characters of the series. But something that I really enjoyed while making this is that there was that line in episode 1 where I said Lewis from accounting. Now that line was developed because I wanted to emphasize to the audience that, oh, these guys work in an office building, and then you find out later they don't. In that case, we actually do meet Lewis, and we actually find out a tad bit of how the Mafia works, and find out through that line that he is an accountant, and he handles the money of the Mafia. And you'll get to understand more of the Mafia in episode 3. This was a bitch to film because for every single shot behind a shoulder, or every single shot of a face, a wall or anything like that would have to be removed on the other side. So this map probably has about 12 different versions. When you see a version, but looking at Leonard behind David's shoulder, I would have to remove the booth or the back behind him and be able to film that shot. So here, a thing, and then yeah, no wall here behind me, because I had to make sure to get the shot exactly where I wanted it. So it was quite a bitch to film, and in the future I'll be better in naming things, because I'd be like, is this the map, or, introducing another waitress, and I love her voice so much. I think she sounds just crisp and clean and cute, and I just love her performance here. I also wanted to kind of show David and Leonard's relationship, make them feel more like bros, and that line there when he's talking about the bathroom was to emphasize that.
I don't know about my friend.
But yeah,
I personally would like
people who don't know, the map was originally intended for another machinima, and then ended up being reused. And you can't actually tell here, but the map was actually recreated and re-looked upon. The scene where David is walking backwards, going into the bathroom, that was actually extended, and the map is actually a lot bigger because of it. But I guess that's what happens when you do a pilot. This bathroom was fun to make because for every single shot I'd have to remove a wall because it was very tight spaced. One thing that I feel in Halo Machinima is that Halo Machinima maps seem to be a lot more massive, and Halo plays with scale a lot. So when it comes to Halo Machinima, making smaller maps would make sense, because that would be the dimensions of real life. So in this case I would have to remove walls as well for particular shots. But sometimes I'd get lucky and be able to do some certain shots. I also want to show more about David and kind of his bluntness, but also kind of his personality of very interested in people and wanting to talk to people and learn about them. But we also get introduced to Jonathan. Jonathan, our other character here, that we do find out later that he is a detective of sorts.
I'm sorry, bathroom talk isn't good enough for you.
The character of Jonathan is played by Hayden, a great voice actor. I knew him through the early days of doing Confinement, and I brought him back for this role, and I'm glad I did.
Nah, man, it's all good. Bathroom talk isn't my cup of tea.
I always like that line because it's in reference to Leonard's, what he's doing outside with the drinks. I don't know why, but I like doing that kind of stuff, like matching dialogue with other dialogue. Makes it feel more well-rounded.
What's your order for me?
Sprite with a bendy straw.
trying to illustrate kind of more the fact that David's a little more childish, and Leonard is more kind of the fatherly type figure and whatnot. I had a great time writing this because it was to emphasize that Leonard and Jonathan know each other, and then as soon as David here in a little bit learns that they know each other because Leonard used to be a detective, the complete mood and the complete shift in tone of this episode completely changes, and that's exactly what I wanted. You know, it's all jumpity and fun and whatnot, and then David just looks at Leonard and just gives him a fucking stare, you know. And I hope people felt the tension in the scene, and I had a really good time writing it.
I have your number, so I'll make sure to give you a call.
Absolutely. Call me anytime.
I love the audio here. I feel like it's very crisp and clean, and just the way that the characters look, it doesn't look as blurry and as like it just muddy. It felt like the first episode looked muddy, so using the unsharp mask here and really bringing out those highlights was really important to me. And it's not like a depth of field. It brings out everything, so everything feels a little poppier, a little cleaner, a little crisper, like you can touch it. Effect made by Radical Industries, believe it or not, the cement. I really only use sound effects if it's to emphasize a point, and at this case it's kind of Leonard kind of afraid but kind of stomping, kind of showing dominance. This was fun to do. This was a lot of fun to do. Something that I noticed is that when you look at David's kind of shoulder on the side here, it doesn't look like he's pointing a gun, but he's actually pointing a gun in the film clip. But when you look at his back, it doesn't really look like that. I always love this line.
Then I'll grab her, tie her up, and put so much fucking cum down her throat she dies of suffocation.
Going back to the idea that David is a bit childish and kind of putting the idea that it's like this teenage angst, and something's building up, and he doesn't like complications. But then again, he's someone who makes complications. For example, like that conversation with Jonathan. So maybe he's looking for something, and I don't know what he's looking for, to be honest. I had to talk to Carl G with a K, Carl, or Holy Junkie here, who plays Leonard, to really emphasize. I wanted to explore Leonard a little more, and I think that he was a little bit lighter in the first episode. I wanted to kind of bring him into more of a deeper tone in this one, especially within this scene. And we got a mixture of lighter and heavier tones here, and I really like the way that he kind of moves back and forth with his emotions, and it feels more well-rounded, and it feels like he's really a character, that he's not just a straight and narrow just all the time. You know, sometimes, you know, like in the diner, he's a little lighter, and sometimes here he's a little deeper, depending on his situation. And that was really important to me, that you got the feel of how the situation is progressing. It was really important to me that David spared Leonard, because I wanted to show that Leonard is a very important character as the series progresses, which we will definitely see in episode 3. This was funny because there was originally going to be a masking shot, or not. Yeah, there was originally going to be a masking shot of the city in the background, but it just didn't. The mood and tone of the scene, and just the camera angle was not great, and it just I like the way I edited here. Yeah, this map was not made by me. This map was made by someone else. I fixed it up a little bit for my personal what I wanted to do with it, but yeah. It was really important to me that people got what was happening in this scene, and I felt like I could have shown it a little more, maybe have like a wide or something like that. But honestly, the dead bodies would keep disappearing, and I really tried, but the wide shots would only last like 8 seconds, and they just didn't feel good enough to have in there, so I ended up cutting them out. But, you know, with that, I really wanted to show that these bodies are part of the Cardeas gang that we meet in the first episode. The first one he sees being the man that was chained up in the basement I-beam, and the other one being one of the men shooting at the characters in the first one. I felt like there's a complete like shift in this episode. I feel like we're starting to learn more characters. Things are beginning to become more interesting. It's more of a drama in this one, different from the first episode where it was kind of I wouldn't say it was an action adventure, but I wouldn't say it was a drama either. It was that kind of weird middle territory where everything was kind of like fun and exciting, and you know, especially like when they find the Hispanic gang member, and finding him, and you know how he's yelling and whatnot. So I wanted to kind of bring this one's tone a little bit different here. I ended up having a big body acting session for this scene, but I ended up only using one shot, which is the shot that we're looking at now, and so sorry to the body actors who body acted this scene. I just didn't end up using as much as I thought I would. Ended up being just more of a simple fade out. I love the way this scene looks. I love the way the color correction or gradient just brings out this scene's colors. And we're meeting Alex for the first time here. The shot done by Broadcast Machinima right there with the time code. This was fun doing because I wanted to explore the scene from the first one and actually do a bit of a twist on how the character that we meet in the first one is actually different than what we may have thought she was. Maybe she was just some girl that went to David's house, but we actually find out here that she is a pivotal character in the production. It was fun trying to recreate these shots. These are actually not the originals. I had to recreate these, and it was interesting doing so, because I would try to match them up as best I could. This was fun doing because, like, that hallway, like, you know, in the original, you didn't even know that Grace was there, but in this version, Grace is. And in the original Delinquent Pair script, the scenes were completely out of order, and I actually had to figure out how I was going to do it. And ended up being a lot more linear than it was in the actual script. And then I ended up doing this because I had no idea how I was going to make it clear to the audience that, oh, this happened, this, and then this happened before, or whatever. But I think me doing this, it made it a whole lot better, and I'm glad I did it the way I did it, and it just turned out a lot better than I thought it did, or thought I would. This was fun here because, like I said, it was exploring Alex, and we actually find out that this character's named Alex, and kind of exploring Hoffman from the first one, and actually finding out that she's gonna take him out. This is a great voice actress that I found through Carl G, who's going to be playing Mr. Weston, Blue Visor gentleman, coming up here in a little bit. And she is wonderful. She is marvelous, and I had a lot of fun working with her because I felt like I could, you know, like fold and like meld her and bend her into what I wanted to create. And we worked very closely with one another, and we did pre-vises over and over and over again to get exactly what we wanted. And I ended up I stopped editing for a little bit, for like a week, and then I came back, and instead of that person that I thought Alex was, I came back and looked at her as Alex, and it helped the performance, and ended up putting a couple more lines in a dialogue that I thought were needed later because of that. I don't know why I did this. It seems to be that the visors in Halo, making a woman have a silver visor, makes them a little more feminine, a little more beauty to them, and that was something that I really wanted to bring. That the difference between the males and the females in Delinquent Pair, and I'm really glad that Halo Machinima has became a lot more. I wouldn't say 50-50 male and female, but has become a lot more female and male, other than just all male and like one female, if you're lucky. Yeah, so I did hope that people understood the way the scenes progressed. This scene, that was just kind of what happened many days ago, and this is a continuation of the scene of them driving away.
No, I don't.
I believe this scene actually happened first, before the Alex scene in the script.
Excuse me. Hello?
I wanted to point out that we also meet the character Tommy, which is played by Benner Dakari, played here with the air assault helmet, and Well, I thought I ended up, I wanted him to be one way, and then he ended up being another way, and I was really happy with the way the character turned out at the end, because I wanted him to be a lot less, like, fun, but then kind of the roles kind of swapped, and Hayden's character, Jonathan, became a lot more fun and kind of dorky, and that's exactly what I kind of wanted to show here. We're also introduced to John Hazard, who plays the superintendent here. I don't think we actually say his name, but it is in the credits as superintendent, which we will find out later in episode 5 that his name is the superintendent. I don't actually think we find out his real name. This actually sound effect, actually, I had a, like, I had the sound in my head. Like, I knew the sound I wanted, and I actually ended up going into, and it ended up, the sound that I wanted to get was actually from Halo 3 ODST, and it's actually one of the not the big doors, but one of the ones that you can open to get like a mongoose or a sniper rifle and whatnot. It's actually that sound effect, and honestly, it did exactly what I wanted to. Kind of a grinding sound, like the bars are coming in, and quick enough for him to get into the scene without it being like boring.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Back to this map yet again. I wanted to get out of this environment as soon as possible, honestly. I want to get out of Forge World, and I want to get out of these kind of maps for this machinima. When I was first kind of going into Delinquent episode 2 and what I wanted to do with it, I wanted to get out of the maps, especially Forge World. I wanted to be more actually in the campaign, so in episode 5 and 6 we'll be dove into the campaign very heavily, and I feel like the campaign and other maps aren't used as much and are unutilized, and I really wanted to bring that in this episode, or not this episode, sorry, in continuous episodes.
That door, because clearly this is the only building fully constructed in this reconstructed hellhole.
It was fun editing this because I worked with Hayden really closely on what I wanted to do here, and we eventually got it, but it was kind of a pain in the ass at first.
Reconstructed hellhole?
It worked, didn't it?
But it was fun doing so. I wanted to really bring in a lot more color to Delinquent Pair. I felt like the first one didn't have enough color, and I wanted to bring out the color in this one very heavily. So, like, this kind of color correction is made to feel like it's like, you know, like low lit light bulbs, like blinking and whatnot. We don't see any blinking, but I just kind of wanted to get that kind of grainy gray effects and kind of ghostly. Vacant, and we can actually literally see that the place is vacant, and we'll find out in a little bit. I wanted this scene to be a lot more tension driven. I think it felt a lot more tension driven, because you know he tries to open the door and it's locked, and it's like, what if he were to go down there, and what, would he snap or anything like that? I thought this was a lot very sneaky to come in. This is the only action that actually happens in this episode, and I love these slow motion shots here, like with the blood and like and Tommy falling to the ground, and we'll find out or not if they're dead or not. And that shot was a little confusing. I felt like maybe I should have done that better, but I'm happy with it. It was made to show that he was kind of whimpering in a corner and he was scared, and the way I did the body acting was getting that plasma pistol in and having him look to that side, and kind of that thing he does with his head, and kind of makes him look kind of puppy doggish and scared, and that was the point of this. I love this color correction. I love these scenes. Alex was I gave Grace, which is played by Izzy Dulé here. I wanted to get Grace, like the woman form, especially in Halo, is definitely a lot more, it's like bulkier, or I'm sorry, less bulky than the male form, which makes sense. but I wanted to make her pop out a little more, make her look a little tougher, so I can make Alex, woman in red, look as skinny as possible. With Alex, I kind of imagine the woman in red with the fox scarf and kind of the cigarette and white gloves, and I wanted to make her and kind of like the more curvier woman. And when it came down to Alex, I actually wanted to make her as petite as possible. And yeah, she might be skinny and whatnot, but she's definitely frightening, and you don't want to mess with her. We're also introduced to Mr. Weston here, played by Carl Brooks, G. Brooks, and not to be confused with Carl G, who plays Leonard. Carl with a C, and I loved his performance here. We really worked on the performance and getting it just right. We're also looking at Lewis here from accounting, played by Robert Duquette, which is actually a voice actor from a Halo 2 production that I actually found many, many years ago, and I went to him through a YouTube message asking him if he wanted to be a part of this, and he's been away from the scene for quite a while, but I'm really glad that he came and did this role, and he's going to continue to do so, and he's going to play a pivotal role in the production as it goes. And I love his voice. He has a texture to his voice that I really like, and he sounds different, and I enjoy listening to him. I worked with Carl very personally here on getting Mr. Weston just right, and we worked on, bringing his kind of passive-aggressive tone, but kind of elegant and beautiful. And I wanted to get the idea that Mr. Weston was like a man in a suit, and I felt like the black or the darkness to break the illusion of the machinima, his armor, wanted to make him black, and the blue visor was just to give him some color and to make him pop, and but also kind of still keeping him dark, and I wanted to feel like he was a businessman, a man in a suit, and kind of his lisp and his tongue, and he says his words so precisely, but with a breathiness type feel, and that was so important when making the character. And Carl and I eventually got it, and there was a lot of pre-visiting involved, but we eventually got it, and I love the performance here. And I love the body acting here. I loved all my camera work, and I love all the body acting that I did here. I wouldn't change a single shot. It's exactly what I want it to be, and I hope that when I'm at like episode 6, I look at this and hopefully I don't want to change a thing. Maybe little things I would have embellished more, or maybe shown a little more. But honestly, I like 95% of it, like 98% of it is exactly what I wanted. I really like still shots, and I really like, it's really important in drama productions to make sure they're breathing up, because it builds tension, and that was really important when doing the shots and the body acting here, and making sure most of their bodies are in the shot and focusing on them other than the environment, even though the environment is beautiful, and we are at Anderson Tower, the home of this mafia group or empire that is Alex's now. I wanted to illustrate that and kind of get attention in their scene, and that's why the camera kind of looks up at Alex and looks a little less up at Mr. Weston, because he might be kind of pulling the shots for this mission, but Alex knows what's up. So we cut to David's new apartment, which goes back to the thing I was talking about, which I wanted to get out of Halo. I mean, we used Reflection. I want to get out of Forge World, and we're using the campaign here. And there's just a lot more civilian-like environments, and I plan on modding my console in the future to further enhance civilian-type objects, such as a stove or a chair or anything like that, instead of the things that we make within Halo, which I do work very heavily on, making the Forge feel real and feel like an environment, and
It's not your fault.
yeah.
Some guests can be too hard to handle.
I really like this scene too, because it goes back to the idea that I wanted to make David feel more human instead of the David that we saw him in the first one, and that was really important to me to do so. And I felt like his conversation with Alex here, and Alex being very elegant, and just talking to him like a person, and him speaking normally, and seems like, doesn't seem as crazy as we saw him in the first one, or seems to be as crazy as we saw him in the first one, humanizing him a little bit. And I really love the pacing of this scene. The original scene didn't actually have this music in it. This music actually was going to play at the ending credits, right at the start of the ending credits, but I brought it back a little bit just as an experiment, and the feel and the emotion towards the scene and the way it flows and just everything about it is just excellent here. And I can't tell you enough how much the music changed this scene. I mean, it still had its quietness to it and its flow, but the music just brought a certain aspect to it that just wasn't in the original. And last shot here being that David is going to the diner, and before the first scene that we see within the first couple scenes in the first part of the episode, and just some guy standing outside, and Leonard drives up, and that's it. And this music comes in, and if you really listen to it, I'd like to think that this music is talking about Alex, and I do that a lot with the music, is to show that it is talking about Alex, and how she's manipulative and kind of scary and beautiful and romantic, but also kind of aggressive. Yeah, thank you for John Hazard for being with me during the making of episode 1, and also a good amount of it during episode 2. Thank you for all these people that have been a part of my life, and also machinimas that I rather enjoy. And to every single Halo Machinima director out there, I love you all, and thank you for listening to the commentary. And I hope you learned as much as I loved making it. And thank you so much for watching. Good day.